Ask you real quick about a tweet yesterday on the Denali Mount McKinley.
I've been
flag.
telling them today, don't change the signs because when I'm president, we're changing it back.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm 100% serious. Sure. Are they serious in changing the name? I guess they are. Well, I'm serious in keeping the name.
Sure. Why do you think that's a problem? I mean, the people of Alaska.
Because there was an explorer that named it after McKinley. They thought he was a great leader, and I don't see any reason to change it.
What about the native people of Alaska?
I don't think there's any reason to change it.
Sure. So you talked today about taxes. I've been reading a little bit about some of your recent tax proposals in Ohio, as you called them. You know, some trade-off.
Some tax reform, yeah.
Some reform.
I mean, the $5 billion
sure.
is a net tax cut. That's how much we've deferred spending to cut taxes.
Sure.
But we also, want to implement tax reform.
Sure. So it sounds somewhat complicated, however, like this swap of reform ideas.
I don't think it's complicated. We would have higher taxes on consumption and lower taxes on investment and risk taking. I don't
Sure.
think that's complicated at all.
Is that a model you want to take to the national level?
Different
as well?
situation at the national level. I'd like to see the income tax flatter and fairer and both ends improved.
Sure. Do you think, there's a lot of debate right now about tax fairness, whether people at the lower levels of the society are taxed?
Well, we're sensitive to it in Ohio.
Position,
I think it's important that not only people at the top who work hard have incentives to continue to work hard, but I also think it's important for the working poor who face high marginal rates to have incentives to keep working hard.
Sure. So what can some of those incentives look like? I mean, are you in favor of the EITC?
Oh yeah, we put it in Ohio.
Yeah.
First time, and but depends what those rates are. I mean, just improve people's ability to keep money in their pocket when they earn it when they're at low income levels.
Sure. There's been a push here in Michigan to abolish our state level earned income tax credit.
That's up to the state.
Sure. Well, I mean, at the federal level, though, you would support keeping that in place?
Well, yeah. I mean, at this point, I'm not looking at trying to change that.
Sure. You think it's good policy?
What's good policy?
The earned income tax.
I think that it is important for people at the bottom to have incentives to work harder to climb up the income scale.
Sure. Where do you stand on the minimum wage debate? There's been some Democrats.
Have it be reasonable, because if you could have unintended consequences if you start imposing a high wage, which could actually lead to fast food restaurants putting in kiosks and middle management people being upset that they can't get a raise. So it's got to be reasonable.
Sure. $12 Hillary Clinton.
I wouldn't get into numbers right now or what she thinks. I just think you have to be realistic, and I think that management and labor need to sit down and talk about what is an effective way to help.
Sure.
We have sort of a gradual one in Ohio, and so anyway.
Gotcha. Sure. Sure. So this is your fourth or fifth?
Fourth.
Okay. I counted 5, maybe 4.
Good.
I got to check my numbers.
Well, let's take 5.
I'll check my numbers. And of course, you're coming to Mackinac Island here again later this month.
Right.
Why spend so much time here? I mean,
Michigan's important. It's an important primary state, and I like it, and it's our neighbor, and I feel comfortable here. It's great.
Sure. I mean, how important is? I mean, you've spent more time
Very
here
important.
than Iowa. Excuse me.
We'll consider it to be very important. It's a primary state, different than a caucus state, but we've yet to determine ultimately how much effort and energy in each of the states. But it just seems to work here right now.
Sure. And what sort of advantages do you see yourself having here in Michigan? Do you think you play well here naturally?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think I need to change anything. I think that Ohio and Michigan are very similar, and it's fun to come here, and I got more Michigan State hats than you can shake a stick at. So every time I come, they give me one.
Sure, sure. I think you mentioned in Grand Rapids a few months ago that you weren't going to take your shirt off and run down the 50-yard line at Ohio
to be
State
noticed.
University
I
of
don't
Michigan
think I need to do
that. It sounds like you're gaining some traction in certain states. We haven't seen a poll here in
well,
Michigan.
I still have a relatively low name ID, but the positives seem to be pretty good, and the negatives seem to be minimal. So we'll see how it goes.
Sure, sure. All right. Well, that's my whole list of questions.